At 80, life becomes very quiet. Not peaceful quiet, but a different kind of silence. The kind where the phone stops ringing as often, the kind where the world keeps moving, but somehow, you don't feel part of its speed anymore. People look at you with respect, but they don't always listen. People assume you've lived your life, that your story is complete. But what they don't understand is this: turning 80 is not the end of life. It's the moment when life reveals its most honest truths. There was an 82-year-old man named Harold. One evening, sitting by the window and watching people pass by, he quietly said something that stayed with me. He said, "The hardest part about growing old is not the pain. It's being slowly forgotten while you're still here." Today, we explore the 6 brutal realities of life after 80. Truths that are rarely spoken, but deeply felt. The first reality is this: after 80, the world doesn't stop, but it slowly stops, including you. Technology changes, conversations change, even humor changes. You may sit in a room full of people and still feel out of place. Not because you don't understand life, but because life no longer speaks your language. Harold once tried to join a conversation about smartphones and social media. He smiled, he listened, but deep down, he felt invisible. Aging doesn't just change your body, it changes your connection to the world around you. And sometimes, the hardest part is not being alone. It's feeling like you no longer belong where you once did. The second reality is quieter, but heavier. Your circle becomes smaller. Friends you grew up with slowly disappear. Some move away, some lose touch, and some are simply gone. At 30, you are surrounded by people. At 50, you still have your circle. But at 80, every year feels like losing a piece of your past. Harold used to have a group of friends he met every Sunday. Over time, the chairs at that table became empty, one by one, until one day, it was just him. Loneliness at this age doesn't come from lack of people. It comes from the absence of the people who knew your story. The third reality is something you cannot ignore. Your body begins to set limits. Things that once felt effortless now require planning. Walking, climbing stairs, even standing for too long. At 80, your mind may still feel young, but your body reminds you every single day that time has passed. Harold once said, "Inside, I still feel like I'm 40. But when I stand up, reality speaks." The spirit remains strong, but the body slowly negotiates every movement. It's not just physical pain. It's the frustration of losing the independence you once had. The fourth reality is deeply emotional. Independence becomes everything. Simple things like making your own tea, walking without assistance, or managing your own routine. These are no longer small tasks. They become victories. Because after 80, dependence slowly tries to enter your life. Family members worry. They offer help. But sometimes, help feels like a quiet reminder of what you're losing. Harold valued one thing more than anything else. Not money, not comfort, but the ability to live life on his own terms. Because at this stage, freedom is not taken for granted, it is protected. The fifth reality is something many people don't notice. People begin to talk about you instead of to you. Decisions are made around you. Conversations happen over your head, as if your voice has become optional. Harold once sat quietly while his family discussed his health. They spoke with care, with concern, but no one asked him what he wanted. And in that moment, he didn't feel old. He felt invisible. The sixth reality is perhaps the most profound. Time changes. At 20, life feels endless. At 40, life feels busy. At 60, life feels fast. But at 80, time feels precious. Not in a fearful way, but in a deeply aware way. Every morning feels like a gift. Every conversation feels meaningful. Every memory becomes valuable. Harold didn't rush anymore. He didn't chase anything. He simply observed. Because when you reach this stage, you understand something most people don't. Life was never about how fast you move. It was about how deeply you experience each moment. But here's something important. These realities may sound harsh, but they are not without meaning. Because alongside these challenges, there is clarity, there is wisdom, there is a deep understanding of life that only time can teach. At 80, you stop chasing what doesn't matter. You stop pretending. You stop living for approval. And maybe, for the first time in your life, you begin to live only for truth. Harold once said something I will never forget. When you reach this age, you don't fear being alone. You fear being misunderstood. So if you have someone in your life who has reached this stage, listen to them, not out of obligation, but out of respect for the life they've lived. And if you are walking toward that stage yourself, remember this: aging is not just about losing things. Sometimes, it's about finally seeing life clearly. If this message made you think differently about aging, subscribe to Health Vibe for more honest, respectful truths about life after 60. Because some lessons in life can only be understood with time.